Hello and welcome to VocaCast. This is the place where we try to make sense of all those, frustrating, confusing parts of learning English.
Mm.
We want this to be a space where you feel like, okay, I'm not the only one who feels this way.
And today we're cutting straight to one of the biggest of those frustrations. We're tackling something we call the silent student syndrome.
The silent student syndrome. Okay, that sounds really familiar.
It is. It's that huge gap between all the English you understand in your head and the English you can actually speak when it matters.
Right, when someone asks you a question and your mind just goes blank.
Precisely. So our goal today is simple. We're going to give you the tools to move from being a passive listener to an active speaker.
I love that.
Yeah.
So where do we start? What's the root cause of this paralysis?
Well, it begins with something called the input trap. And to explain it, I want to use an analogy. Let's think about a gym.
Okay, a gym.
Imagine you decide you want to get strong. So you join a really nice gym, you go every single day, you're disciplined, but you never touch a weight.
What do you do then?
You just watch. You watch other people lift, you study their technique, you watch tutorials on YouTube, you read articles about building muscle. You do this for a year. My question is, at the end of that year, are you any stronger?
No, of course not. Not at all. You're just an expert on watching people get strong.
Exactly. You haven't built any muscle. And that is what is happening to so many English learners.
That's so relatable. I mean, I remember when I was first learning another language, I would binge watch TV shows.
Yeah.
I'd watch hours and hours of American sitcoms.
Thinking you were absorbing it all.
Totally. I thought, I'm surrounded by the language. I'm going to be fluent any day now. And then I tried to order a coffee.
And
Total freeze. I couldn't even put a simple sentence together. It was mortifying. So why does that happen? Why doesn't all that listening translate?
because you're training the wrong skill. Listening and reading are what we call passive input. Your brain is in recognition mode.
Recognition mode.
Yes. It sees or hears a word and says, ah, I know that one. It's cognitively cheap. It doesn't take much energy. But speaking is active output. That's a different beast entirely.
It's like actually lifting the weight.
Precisely. And the math here is, well, it's brutal. Most learners spend about 90% of their time on input
90%.
and maybe 10% on output. So you're training your understanding muscle 90% of the time and your speaking muscle only 10%. It's a mathematical recipe for failure.
Wow. So it's not that I was bad at the language. It's that my training was completely unbalanced.
That's it. You were a gym watcher.
Okay, that makes sense logically. But what about the feeling, that panic? It feels so much deeper than just not having enough practice.
It is deeper
Yeah.
because the logical problem then creates a psychological one.
You're talking about that feeling of being a fraud, right? That imposter syndrome.
Exactly. The fear that if you make a mistake, everyone will think you're, unintelligent or that you don't belong.
And that fear is absolutely paralyzing.
It is. And many people try to hide that fear behind a word that sounds much more noble. They call it perfectionism.
Oh, yeah. I just want to say it correctly before you speak.
But here's the hard truth. Perfectionism in language learning is just procrastination in a fancy suit. It's an excuse to stay silent.
An excuse to stay on the gym bench.
Yeah, very comfortable excuse. But here's the insight that should, I hope, set you free. Native speakers aren't perfect.
Right. We think they are, but they're really not.
Not even close. If you actually record and transcribe native speakers, their speech is a mess. It's full of fillers, restarted sentences, little grammar mistakes. They might say something like, if I were there.
But a learner would see that as a huge error.
And that's the point. The goal of language isn't to be a perfect grammar machine. The goal is connection, not perfection.
Connection, not perfection. I love it. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. But what's the fix? What can you do in that moment of panic?
Right, the tactical fix. This is for when you're in a conversation and someone asks you a question and you feel that freeze coming on.
Yeah, that deer in the headlights moment.
The technique is called the 3-second rule.
The 3-second rule. Okay, what is it?
The rule is simple and it's strict. You have exactly 3 seconds to make a sound. Any sound.
But what if I don't know the answer? I don't want to just say, that makes me sound even less confident.
Uh-huh. But you're not going to say, uh-huh. You're going to use what we call buffer phrases. These are pre-made conversational tools to buy your brain some time.
Okay, give me an example.
The first one is simple. Someone asks you a challenging question. Instead of freezing, you immediately say, that's an interesting point.
That's an interesting point.
Think about what that does. It takes about 2 seconds to say. You've just bought yourself 2 seconds of thinking time, and You've complimented the other person. You sound engaged and thoughtful, not lost.
That completely changes the dynamic. It puts you on an equal footing.
It does. Here's another one. For when you need to organize your thoughts, you just say, let me think about that for a second.
That feels bold to actually ask for time.
It's a high-status move. It shows you're confident enough to control the pace of the conversation. And a third one, for when you want to give an opinion, well, honestly.
Well, honestly, it kind of warms up the engine.
It does. It signals you're about to contribute something authentic. All these phrases stop the panic and they keep the jazz of the conversation going.
You mentioned jazz and improvisation in the outline. Let's unpack that.
Right. That brings us to our rapid-fire vocab toolbox. 3 key ideas for today. The first is improvisation.
Okay.
You have to stop thinking of conversation as a written script. It's not. It's jazz. It's messy. It's spontaneous. You don't always know where your sentence is going to end, and that's okay.
So you just have to go with the flow.
And trust that you'll find the words. The second word is articulate, as a verb.
To articulate.
It means to express an idea clearly. But notice, it doesn't say using big, fancy words. You can articulate a complex idea with very simple language. Clarity is the goal, not complexity.
That's a huge relief.
Yeah.
So what's the third one?
The third is comprehension, the noun. We're highlighting this because it's a trap.
How is it a trap?
Because your listening comprehension will almost always be higher than your speaking ability. You can understand complex ideas, but that doesn't mean you can produce them. Acknowledging that gap is the first step to closing it.
So to summarize all this,
Yeah.
stop being a gym watcher.
Get off the bench and lift something, even if it's a small weight.
And don't aim for perfection, aim for connection. Use those buffer phrases to buy yourself time.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we wrap up, every episode we give our listeners some homework. A practical step. What is it this week?
It's a challenge I call the 30-second voice note.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
You're going to take your phone, open the voice recorder app, and for 30 seconds, just describe the room you're in right now.
So just talk about what I see.
Yes, but there are rules. Rule 1, no script, you have to improvise. Rule 2, no deleting.
Ooh, that's the tough one.
It is. You have to record it and you have to save it, even if you hate it. The point is to get used to the sound of your own imperfect, spontaneous voice. It's exposure therapy for your brain.
You're proving to yourself that making mistakes isn't dangerous.
You're building that muscle, 1 rep at a time.
I love it. It's a small step, but it feels like it could break the cycle of silence. So, to everyone listening, you are capable of this. You have the words inside you.
Don't just listen to this. Go use it. We'll see you in the next one.